Hello everyone, Neagat here, and welcome to another match of Littlewargame. Today I am bringing you a game that was played on Ravaged between myself in the top left with the red pieces versus ItzJ in the bottom right playing with the blue pieces. I will say that this is a replay, and this is kind of an older replay actually. This is a game that I played in November against ItzJ. And it was quite a banger. If you're on the Discords for Littlewargame, I did post this replay to that Discord about 2 months ago at this point, and it was such a good game. Both of these players played really well, but as I mentioned, it was 2 months ago, and I've kind of forgotten a little bit about this game. What exactly happened? What did we go for? And so I'm basically making this replay to go over the game, to talk about what happened, and then to kind of cast this game. That way I have somewhere where I've recorded myself casting it, just because I remembered it was such a nice game. So both myself and ItzJ were going for this racks opening, so I'm going for this double racks. And ItzJ, he's a little bit late on the rack on the raider. Oh, I'm going double raider. That's what I meant to say. Oh, looks like just one raider so far. Actually, let's see what happens there. I do scout around my main base to kind of see what's going on at this third, and ItzJ is also scouting around. Oh, this is interesting. So, I don't do this anymore, but it looks like during the time of this replay, I used to send this scout across the map, all around the map basically, to scout for any proxies. I know that square root of -1, he likes to do a double racks proxy in this location, especially if he does this archer rush. And then basically the point of sending the scout is so that the scout and the raider can meet the first raider on the opposite side of the map. And now I have 2 units against 1. I do miss that raider shot, so I actually shouldn't try to fight this anymore, just because I did miss that raider shot. Puts me at a pretty huge disadvantage, but then again, all of a sudden I am advantaged. Ooh, if I was able to get that hit off, I'm pretty sure I would have been able to one-shot this raider, but obviously ItzJ doing a fantastic job of microing very well. It does look like I went for a 1 raider into castle opening, and then ItzJ was able to kill my worker. So very poorly executed by myself. I was able to start this castle just a little bit sooner. I do decide to pull workers from my main base to start defending against ItzJ's raider in this location, and then I pull my archer. I have 2 archers at this point, so I'm able to defend against any harassment that ItzJ might be going for. And then at the same time, we do see that ItzJ's base is currently halfway done, and my base is about to finish up. So the advantage of the 1 raider opening is that you get your faster expand, but you definitely need to follow it up with defensive units like archers so that you can defend against raiders just like this. ItzJ does look like he's going to try to go for a greedy 3rd expand here, so he has enough gold saved up for a castle. Looks like he's going to try to build it here, and he did send in a raider into the main base here. I try to block this entrance or this exit from the raider, and then ItzJ sending this additional raider, basically trying to scout, see what's going on. I'm very curious to see if I decide to build another rack. So I decide to build a house. The reason for the house is because on continuous castle and racks production, you do tend to max out pretty quickly, so the extra house is definitely needed. And then we see additional archers, and it looks like I'm trying to get a little bit of map control. So I'm sending my archers out into the middle of the map. I do know that I am behind in income. Yeah, so I've lost about 160 gold from losing that raider and that worker from earlier, so I'm definitely behind. But I do decide to send out a little bit of a scout. Ooh, 3 raiders. This is a very interesting situation for me to be in. We do see that I approach. ItzJ doing a fantastic job with approaching. Obviously, with these raiders, they're going to be able to trade health very efficiently against these raiders here, especially as the raiders do recoup health. But if ItzJ is going to lose these raiders like this, that's not going to be very good at all. And then all of a sudden, we do see that the income is reaching parity now, especially as ItzJ just lost 3 raiders. And this is a tough position to be in because ItzJ went for this greedy 3rd castle, and now he's going to need to pull workers in order to try to defend against all of this. And as a result, I'm going to get even more damage against him. I think I stay on 2 racks, so that's important to observe. We do see that this archer fight is definitely in my favor, especially if you're going to lose archers. And then I continue to micro against these workers, definitely wanting to kill more and more workers if that's possible. And then we do want to try to get that archer kill, obviously, if that's possible as well. So killing these workers is going to be highly influential. Let's take a look at how many workers ItzJ has lost. So he's lost 4 workers at this point, 5 now, and then he's got this catapult out. So he's going to be able to defend with this catapult. It's very difficult to attack into that. So I have 22 workers at this point just because I've lost less workers. ItzJ has lost a few more workers. And then ItzJ's advantage is that he's able to have that 3 castle production to get more workers so that he's able to get to a higher worker count just a little bit faster. He does go for additional production. I decided to stick on 2 racks production and then try to get to a 3rd castle here. So I decide I've done enough damage. I also don't see that ItzJ has a 3rd base at this point, which I definitely wish if I would have kept that raider alive from the very beginning of the game, I would have been sending it around to scout out for things like that. But it does look like I decide to approach to try to get some scouting information. And ItzJ, obviously, he has great vision with these archers, and then it's very hard to approach into catapults like that. The archers have a hard time seeing the catapults, and then as a result, they kind of start getting attacked before they even know where the catapults are coming from. So definitely requires a lot of attention and a lot of micro to do this well. We do see that that 3rd castle is finished up. A little bit of overmining on the main base. I wonder if I fixed that. Oh, and ItzJ, if you see this, he did attack command. So he had his catapults just attack specific locations on the map. And as you can see, with an archer army, it's very difficult to approach into this location. In fact, it looks like ItzJ is trying to do a little bit of a move out. I'm following this up with 2 additional barracks. I'm the one who thinks he's being greedy, which is not the case at all. ItzJ is just in the center of the map here. I think he's trying to just move out a little bit, get some map control, essentially just defend his advantage with this 3rd castle that he has. I currently have 30 workers to his 27, or 28 at this point. So we're going to definitely want to see ItzJ building more workers. I wonder if I ever decide to get a 4th base going. Probably not soon, especially since I got these barracks up and going, so that'll be very interesting. Ooh, this is exciting. So because I had the center of the map, I was able to catch out ItzJ's reinforcements, but we do see that ItzJ kind of has a surround going on, so I need to be careful not to lose too much army. We do see that these archers are very low. We'll lose them very quickly, and then as long as I'm able to micro this correctly, which I think unfortunately I lost about 3 archers from some catapults. Definitely don't want to lose archers, but we do see that ItzJ's army is starting to get a little bit thinner. I'm very curious. Looks like I'm starting to get soldiers, so I'm starting to get more and more soldiers. Do I continue to get soldiers? I'm very curious about that. I don't know. Let's go ahead and take a look at the main base. ItzJ is going for a fortress, So he's built an advanced workshop, and now he's going for a fortress. Fortress are your tech for dragons, and then at the same time, I think I built a armory, and now I'm going for +1 range on archers. We do have a little bit of a weird situation going on the map as we speak. So I'm currently approaching ItzJ's base, or army, I would say, with my army. Ooh, these archers are very clumped. Definitely want to micro, or else these archers are going to get destroyed by those catapults. Probably want to pull back those soldiers just a little bit so that they don't get destroyed. And ItzJ, with this airship here, is going to have some fantastic micro potential against this army here. It does look like I'll have to micro and try to retreat this. I am able to juke these catapults just well enough. At the same time, it looks like I have some workers on the side of the map here. Very curious to see if I decide to go for a greedy 4th base. I wonder if I do decide to do that or not. ItzJ, he's going to be able to see that these workers are here. I don't have a 4th base in this location, but he does have those 2 catapults in here, so he's definitely going to need to want to do some damage. He drops his catapults down here to make it very difficult for me to approach. And now ItzJ is at my main base, basically looking to try to do some damage. I'm fortunate enough that I have these soldiers that are able to start doing some damage, and then my reinforcements are here in the form of these soldiers, and they're going to start doing some damage. Hopefully I can kill this, but it doesn't look like I am. And me and ItzJ are microing so hard. We're both floating almost 1,000 gold at this point. The soldiers did a fantastic job against these catapults. At the same time, we do see that ItzJ is setting up another catadrop. Only 1 catapult in there though. And now these soldiers are doing a fantastic job of defending or killing off these catapults. We do see that this catapult has arrived at my main base. I did set up a watchtower, so this will be able to defend. And then at the same time, my 4th base is going up. At the same time, ItzJ has established his main base and is going for upgrades. So he wants to go for probably mech upgrades. And then at the same time, I am going for airships. It looks like I'm going to try to do a airship play where I can drop some soldiers on his mechanical army. That would be fantastic to see happen. Very curious to see if I decide to continue to approach this. This is a very dangerous situation with all these catapults. I do lose a soldier for free, which is definitely something we want to avoid. I do have continuous production, however, with these barracks coming up and being produced. And this is so funny. Already within a month's time, or within 2 months' time, you can already tell that this play is already outdated, because this is not the current building placement at your 3rd base. Your buildings are usually placed 1 space separated from each other, so that catapult drops are very difficult to do. We do see that ItzJ is approaching. At the same time, I have my units on the side of the map to try to do a little bit of a run by. ItzJ doing a good job of basically using this airship to try to do some harassment on my main army. I basically am trying to counter that with sending this group around the map to do some damage, to get this high ground, to also have this airship here so I could potentially do some drops on his main army, which is primarily catapult based. I'm very curious to see how ItzJ responds to this kind of run by with my little detachment here, and then it looks like ItzJ is pulling back his main army so that he can come and help defend against this. He doesn't have very much army at home, so really any run by at this point is going to be capable of doing a lot of damage, as we do see here. Unfortunately, most of this was just spent trying to hit that watchtower, and not a lot of damage was dealt to ItzJ's 3rd. This requires a little bit of micro. I do wonder if I take control of this. Sometimes it's kind of You can respond a little bit late to situations like this, but it does look like ItzJ and I both respond. Continuing to micro, continuing to micro, continuing to micro. At the same time, both of our main armies are on the side of the map. Obviously, it's hard to micro everything at the same time, because then things like this become neglected, where you have main armies. But I have this situation set up where I've got these 2 airships ready to drop. I definitely need to control this so I don't lose anything here. Definitely need to control this airship, and unfortunately I do lose that. I was able to control this airship, but for some reason not able to control the other airship, which is kind of strange to see. Both of us are in parity in terms of bases acquired. We both have 4 bases. I do have these watchtowers set up to try to maintain a defensive position. At the same time, I should be dropping soldiers. I do drop a bunch of soldiers on ItzJ's base, on his army here, and so we should be able to see some effective soldier fighting. You can definitely see the amount of soldiers that we have going on, and as you can see, just that army is able to do a lot of damage to ItzJ's. I was able to defend well enough. I did take a lot of losses in terms of health on my units, but I was able to defend my 4th base against the push that ItzJ was going for there. At this point, we do see that ItzJ, so I did mention earlier that ItzJ was going for this fortress, and as a result, he did end up getting dragons. We do also see that ItzJ has stopped mining from his first base. I'm very curious to see if he wants to start getting a 5th base in this location or in this location, and that probably means that my base is about to run out, and indeed it is, on 20 gold, about to run out very soon here. Ooh, ItzJ going for a very, well, actually, now that I think about it, there's only 3 catapults in here. If there were 6 catapults in here, this would be much scarier, but as you can see, the workers in my main base have been evacuated, and I've got 2 watchtowers here. Very well defended situation for myself, and even if he does try to move into this next base over here, it's got a watchtower. I'm really in a good spot to defend against a lot of this. At the same time, we do see that I was on the side of the map. Apparently I took a very bad fight here. I'm not very happy with just losing part of my army there. In fact, how much army do I have on the map right now? Very little. I definitely need to make sure I'm spending. That way I don't end up in a situation where I'm just getting crushed by this contingent. Hello? Neagat, spend some money. You're almost floating 1,000 gold. Alright, okay, let's see if I can get up to 1,000 gold. Oh no. Is the replay dead? Is that what happened? I hope not. I hope not. I really hope the replay isn't dead. Is it just that I'm microing so hard? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I literally did nothing except for control whatever this was for like a whole minute there. I'm not very happy with that. Well, I'm glad, I'm definitely glad that I'm watching this replay now. My gosh, I played so bad. So basically what I did is I got greedy. I'm trying to establish this base here. I'm trying to establish this base here, which is kind of illegal for me to do, especially when I'm not producing anything for a while. Oh man, could you hear the sadness in my voice for a second there? I was so sad. I was like, oh no, I lost the replay. This is terrible. But I'm glad that I still have it now. That's so funny that happened, but obviously terrible at the same time for myself. I'm definitely not happy with that play, but I am happy that I'm now starting to spend some of this gold. I did have a airship here. I'm very curious to see if I sent it out to drop somewhere. Does look like I tried to. ItzJ definitely is the one with the map control here. He's got the stronger army with these catapults. He's got dragons to be able to do some harassment, as well as just control the map even harder. Yeah, ItzJ is definitely ahead here. At this point, my priority is to try to establish control on this side of the map, and ItzJ is responding by having his main army approach where I have the least amount of defenses. I do have some catapults, which is good to see. That's very good into armies like this. But obviously, I do need to send back this army here so that I can try to be able to hold myself against this. So ItzJ, he's definitely got a very defensive position here, where he is clumping up his catapults. It's very hard to approach this. I am able to kind of go for a little bit of a concave. We do see that my soldiers have stuck in. They are approaching. My archers are doing damage. My catapults, I definitely need to stop microing them so I can actually approach with my catapults. Obviously, my reinforcements from my racks are also starting to participate in this fight, which is good to see. And then this army is just barely being able to be dealt with, which is good to see for myself. How much income did he lose from that? So okay, ItzJ is much more ahead than I am. I've mined a little bit more gold than he has. I think that's because he was idling some workers at one point. But ItzJ is definitely ahead in terms of resources lost. He's lost way less resources than me. And he's been very much more efficient than I have been this match so far. We do see that this base is still currently alive. I'm definitely thinking about getting some more workers at some point, especially if we look at units. We do see a little bit of a fight going on. My soldiers are trying to approach. They definitely want to do some damage to these catapults so that they can knock these catapults out. Soldiers do a tremendous amount of damage to units like these, and especially because they're melee, these catapults are not in range to start attacking these things. But as we look at the worker differential, I have 24 workers to ItzJ's 36, so ItzJ is mining way more workers than me at this point, and I need to make sure to continue building them, and at this point I do decide to start building more workers. Very interesting game so far. I did at one point start getting catapults of my own, and I should get some ballista of my own as well. We do see that these dragons are starting to become a factor in this match, so very curious to see. ItzJ, he's getting his 5th base going. I've had this one up for a while, but I haven't been mining from it for a while, just because that lack of workers that I've been having up to this point is very telling. ItzJ moving on to the other side of the map, so he's got his army here. He's pulled workers. That's kind of a telltale sign that he's trying to do some damage here, but it looks like he pulled workers with his army on accident, and now he's just trying to send these guys over to his 5th base to start getting some mining going. I'm pretty much in producing workers mode. I'm also producing a bunch of archers, so that's good to see, but I'm definitely trying to build up this base so I can have it defended and start mining from it. Obviously it's very expensive to build another base, and so whatever bases you have is whatever you get. Clearly it would be more advantageous for me to have this base, but I actually like having this this base because it gives me high ground over any armies that are trying to approach, and then approaching from this angle is very difficult to do. These dragons doing a lot of work. I'm having to send my archers over to try to deal with these dragons, and then from the production tab we do see that I am producing 5 workers at a time. I want to grow my worker count so that I can start become on an income parity with my opponent ItzJ, and I am getting closer and closer to it, and especially as we are getting closer and closer in workers. Catapult's doing a fantastic job of just absolutely wiping out some of these archers. I think he just lost like a couple archers there. I do have I think 2 attack upgrades versus my opponent's many more attack upgrades. ItzJ is probably maxed out on attack upgrades for mech. The funny thing about this situation and having this base is if I'm able to secure it, I can easily grab this next base over here and not have to worry about defense very much. It does look like ItzJ was able to sneak a catapult over here, so he's going to get some scouting information of that base at some point. ItzJ trying to do a little bit of harassment with his dragons. He's also going for soldiers. So the funny thing is we have approached a very similar army composition despite this game starting out so weirdly. We both have catapults, we both have archers, and we're both going for soldiers. And so now I'm trying to anchor my catapults in this location, and I'm trying to approach his army with my soldiers. Ooh, I took a really bad shot there. If you were able to see that, my red soldiers I pretty much just lost 3 of those guys for pretty much nothing because of how well those catapults do damage. ItzJ, he's got his 6th base in this location, and we're in a pretty much split map situation at this point. I've got these bases, all of these bases. ItzJ has all of his bases on his side. We're pretty much exactly equal. I think ItzJ has lost a little bit less than I have, but obviously as we continue to scrap, as we continue to fight, that'll decrease a little bit. It does look like I'm starting to want to fight. ItzJ has all these catapults here, so he's going to be able to do a tremendous amount of damage if I'm not very careful. I have taken a bunch of damage already. I'm trying to micro my archers so that they're more effective against these catapults. As you can see, I'm just trying my best not to just absolutely lose these archers. Ooh, it's so close every time. It's so close. And then I am able to use these soldiers to continue approaching. At the same time, ItzJ has a soldier run by of his own. These soldiers should be able to take out that watchtower, so he's going to be able to do some damage of his own at the same time. So basically just trying to do a little bit of damage to each other, and then as I mentioned, these soldiers are absolutely going to be able to do some damage to this base. Absolutely. Let's go ahead and see if ItzJ is aware of this gold mine. He should be aware that it's mining because he does have vision of it, so he should be aware that there's a base here. But at this moment, ItzJ, imagine how many workers ItzJ would have been able to kill if this catapult was attacking these workers here. It would have been a ton. I do decide to send out a run by into ItzJ's base here. Basically, one of the best ways to defend is to always be on offense. To force your opponent to be on the defense is way better than having to try to defend some things all of the time. As a result, we do see that these dragons are starting to come. I tried to send this army away so that they are closer to these watchtowers and able to defend. So I need to send my soldiers to the watchtowers so they can defend. And then at the same time, I send out another run by of units to basically see if ItzJ has this base here, and he does. And now ItzJ is going to be able to defend. He has sent out a lot of army to this defense. At the same time, I am approaching with these soldiers trying to do some damage. So there's definitely a lot of harassment going around, being able to do damage. ItzJ, he is trying to send out another catadrop. I wonder if he's going to try to pick up this catapult at some time. Again, I've made it to the 1,000 gold mark. I'm floating so much gold, and so is ItzJ at this point. You can definitely tell that we're both really focused on microing, just on like so many sides of the map, trying not to lose workers. Obviously, this is going to do a lot of damage here. It's not very good to see that this is going to do some damage, and then having to do these run-bys. ItzJ is floating just a little bit much, but that's just the nature of being in a situation like this. We do see that ItzJ's catapult is finally starting to do some damage, and I was fast enough to respond to that just quickly enough. I also do notice that these units were able to start doing some damage to this, basically this infrastructure in this general area. We definitely want to try to kill these catapults if possible, but ItzJ's micro is just going to be so good in this situation with this airship. He's definitely going to be the one that's ahead, but I was fortunate enough to kill a bunch of his army, and then all of a sudden these catapults did not hit anything with those catapult shots, and now we see that ItzJ just lost about 6 catapults for free. I'm gonna be able to approach this and do damage. Is ItzJ doing anything else on the other side of the map? No, it looks like his attention is gonna be over here. Actually, he is microing now, trying to do some damage. I definitely need to send these up onto the ramp to stop this from happening. But I'm very happy with the damage that I was able to do to ItzJ's main army in the meantime, and hopefully very soon to ItzJ's base here. Obviously, you have to deal with the army before you can really continue to deal with anything else. Does look like we finally start to deal with that, and pulling workers. Ooh, let's take a look at the gold mine situation. So all of my gold mines on this edge of the map are completely mined out. I am starting to do some long distance mining. Actually, it's so important that I try to get some gold from this location, because I'm currently low on gold and low on mining. Actually, this is my only mining base, and that means I really do need to start getting a base in this location so that I can continue to have a mining base. ItzJ does have gold on this base and on this base. I wonder if he still has any on this. No, so we're reaching a position in the game where both players are completely mined out, trying to get the last resources that are in the middle of the map here, and at the same time trying to do a little bit of harassment. ItzJ just losing that catapult drop. Very unfortunate there. I want to take a look at the upgrades. Ooh, I'm currently not producing anything. That makes sense to me because of how low the gold income is right now. And then ItzJ with these catapults and these soldiers looking very scary. I do start building a castle, but seeing this many soldiers is very scary, because soldiers are fantastic units. Obviously, if you're just not going to lose any soldiers, that is fantastic. I've got an airship of my own that's approaching. Very curious to see if I'm able to do some harassment. That would be amazing. If I could potentially send in a airship over here maybe to do some damage, but obviously these locations are covered very well with watchtowers, making it very difficult to do any damage. These catapults trying to attack from afar, and then we do see that some workers were on repair command. Unfortunately, these are going to be valuable resources that I definitely don't want to be spending on repairing an airship when I could just be moving it back. ItzJ sending out a... Ooh, excuse me, that's a loud car that just passed by. Sending out a little bit of a run-by to do damage to this location. It doesn't really matter that much to me. Obviously, there's no mining going on at this base, so I'm happy to concede that location if ItzJ wants to do a little bit of damage to it. I'm more worried or more thoughtful about this location on the map over here. I decide to approach with some airships, basically to get some scouting information. If I would have had a little bit more soldiers with this, that would have been a lot better in this situation. I'm basically just trying to approach ItzJ. If he doesn't have a lot of resources, then I definitely want to take advantage of that, and this is a great way for me to find out what ItzJ's resources are even looking like. So having soldiers is fantastic. Again, having this mining base is really good. Having 2 mining bases versus ItzJ's, I believe 2 mining bases, yes. So again, very much on parity this entire game. ItzJ has been ahead in mining now, but apparently I've actually been just a little bit more efficient with my units lost. I've lost about 1,000 gold less than my opponent at this point, so we're pretty much exactly even in this entire game. I do have some army that's starting to group up. I try to go and for this run by, I don't like the idea of this run by here, just because I know I could lose so many archers. I definitely need to have these archers not on attack command but on move command, so I can try to save as many of these guys as possible, and then move these guys back. Yeah, exactly, there we go. Move them back, and I was able to do a little bit of damage. I have these catapults. ItzJ was able to move a catapult around to try to do some damage. We definitely need to micro this. So this is a funny situation, right? Because the micro of this airship is so important, but at the same time, if I just move some of this army around, I could probably just move this over and do a lot of damage in this location. I send forward my workers to try to do a little bit of damage, but this is not a good idea for me. I definitely should have just moved those guys back. Those catapults were able to just simply absolutely destroy those guys. Workers have 120 life, and these catapults are able to two-shot those workers at this point. And so my soldiers, they move forward. Those workers, I think they're on repair command, so they're not necessarily fighting, and my soldiers don't really they're kind of getting bugged out when they're not really sure what to attack against. But I do finally send out my archers to try to do some range damage against these catapults so that these art workers can't repair. And then now I do have these archers target down the workers. I definitely need to be careful, and then don't lose this airship. I think 2 attacks will kill it. Ooh, just barely was able to save that. We need to take a look at the production tab again, so press R. So now I'm just completely focused on building army. If I could, I would probably start building workers again, just so I can have, oh, that's a bummer, I lost that airship for nothing. If I could, I would definitely want to build workers again, so that I can have something going on in terms of economy, just a little bit better. It does look like I sent a contingent to do some damage to this base here, and then I'm gonna need to kill this watchtower. So here I go, trying to kill that watchtower, and then I have these workers that are getting killed. So I'm doing a little bit of damage myself, able to have these soldiers. So now we're both on one mining base. That's fantastic. Like, we're just, like, this game is going the distance at this point. Ooh, ItzJ is deciding to move into this area. He's definitely committing. Like, moving into an area that has watchtowers is definitely a commitment, especially when it's this heavily defended. We've got watchtowers on the up, and like I said, like I'm mentioning, moving into this area specifically is a commitment, because I could move my workers forward. You could get flanked from the rear, which is what I'm doing with these soldiers. So I'm definitely trying to do a little bit of a flank. We're definitely in a late game situation. Both of us only have one mining base at this point, and I'm moving my soldiers around to try to do some damage. I've got these catapults, I've got these archers. Definitely need to move these archers forward so that they're focused on killing these catapults. Got a little bit of reinforcements coming around, but moving these soldiers around, constantly moving around, moving my archers around so that they don't get completely blasted by these catapults. And it does look like I was able to kill this army off, which is fantastic to see. Definitely fantastic to see, in my case particularly. And then I move over to the other side of the map because I want to see if ItzJ is trying to get a castle up on this side of the map again, and I don't want to let him do that. So I pick up a lot of these soldiers. I don't know if you were able to see that pickup micro. And now these catapults are coming in. I'm dropping these soldiers onto those catapults, and then pretty quickly those guys are able to kill that off. ItzJ moving these soldiers off to the other side of the map to basically do the same thing that I did. Ooh, the supply difference is so crazy right now, right? So ItzJ's got 30 supply and I've got 56. So I've got about double the supply, but ItzJ has these catapults. Definitely more catapults than I do. He's got 3, and that's a huge deal. But obviously, like I mentioned, these soldiers are very powerful. But definitely moving into a well-defended area that has this many watchtowers is definitely not advisable, especially when I'm defending it so hard with all these watchtowers. And now I see that this gold mine is about to run out. I need to get a new base if I'm going to be able to stay alive this game, whether it be in this location or in this location. I definitely want it to be here. It's got more gold going on, and we do see that ItzJ is starting to approach. We've got, let me take a look at the production. So he is producing just straight up army at this point. He is not worried about workers anymore. I decided to do a soldier drop, and he's going to lose a couple of workers to my soldiers, which is, you know, definitely don't want to be losing workers. But at the same time, I definitely don't want to be losing soldiers, especially when the supply is this close. 55 to 34, but these are catapults, like I mentioned before. These guys do a tremendous amount of damage, especially with all their upgrades. So at this point, they've got +3, +15. That's right, I wanted to talk about the upgrades earlier. We've got +5, +3 for ItzJ, his mechanical units. And then for myself, I have +3, +2 attack. So ItzJ trying to do a little bit of worker damage. I'm very curious to see if he was able to see anything going on. He shouldn't be able to see anything at this point. And now I am able to get this mining going. It looks like he might try to do some damage over here. I really hope I'm able to respond to this. Oh, I tried to do a little bit of a soldier drop, but I think the moment I saw that his army was here, I was like, or I responded by pretty much going, I need to defend this. ItzJ is able to see this situation. I immediately cancel that watchtower because I definitely need to defend, or I definitely need the resources. I pull my workers because ItzJ was able to hit these guys from afar, and now I pull my workers and start attacking ItzJ with these forces, and we are able to see that these soldiers were able to approach. These workers doing a fantastic job of doing damage here, and basically stopping ItzJ from being able to retreat. I am able to do a little bit of mine walking, and that forces that catapult to get destroyed. And now the supply is 34 against 20. So that supply definitely swung things into my favor. We do see that I just have the army advantage, even though it's so low. At this point, the supply is just so small. I am able to just be able to essentially kill the last of ItzJ's workers, continue to mine on one base, and then at this point, I should just be able to kill this last base. Wow. Just fantastic game from both of these situations. I am able to see that this army is here. I decide to drop on it just because I'm able to see what that army looks like at this point. And these guys should be able to... Ooh, the strength of catapults, actually. This is actually in contention. Not very clear who's going to win, but it does look like ItzJ was forced to GG out that game. So crazy long game, super close the entire time. If we just want to take a look at the income, it's pretty much even the entire time. Just ItzJ towards the end of the game was just losing a little bit more army to that play, but fantastically played. Like his micro was so solid, especially with that raider micro at the center of the map in the beginning of the game. ItzJ is just doing a fantastic job with his control. It's just I don't know, that game was so crazy. Maybe a couple key engagements in the center of the map caused some things to go a little bit different. maybe a little bit of some castle management, I guess, but definitely a hard game, definitely a well-fought game. That was probably one of the craziest games and well-fought games I've ever played in my entire life. And, to the point where it's been 2 months since I played it, and I really wanted to make a recording of it just because of how much I enjoyed thinking about this game and going back and coming back and watching this. Definitely learned some things, so pulling back your workers when catapults are trying to approach it, and otherwise just completely fantastic game by both these players. If you enjoyed watching this game, go ahead and leave a like. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to keep watching videos like these that I post about Littlewargame, and make sure to catch me in the next video that I post. Talk to you guys in the next one.